Welcome to Daily Chess. Okay, playing black. I go for the Petrov Defence, if he allows it. Okay, let's go for knight f6. It's a very easy to learn and also very practical opening choice. You limit the options of your opponents on move 2. You play a line which leads to quite often to symmetrical positions which neutralize most effective way White's opening initiative. And well, okay, the positions you see are not very rich, so but it's very easy to play, and especially if you need a draw or just a solid choice for black, you can go for it. You just need a handful of games in order to play it good. Okay, bishop d3. Usually this bishop isn't very well placed there because it's in front of his pawn. So the problem is not very much this bishop here, but the bishop on c1, which cannot go out for the time being. Probably plans to play b3 and bishop b2, but then he cannot put the pawn in the center, which is also, it just needs time. Of course, right now my pawn is hanging, my knight is hanging, which I could maybe try to go for knight c5. He goes probably bishop e2 or bishop c4. I improved my knight, but he can then gain time with d4, hitting my knight. So okay, knight f6 looks maybe one of the most natural ways to play. Knight f6 and just follow up with bishop e2, castle, knight c6, and so on. With knight c5, it looks as if I would gain time, but let's see if I can somehow exploit it. Okay, knight c5, bishop, let's say c4, a bit more active. Bishop e2, d4, knight e6 comes d5, and suddenly white gets more space. I don't think I have any. Okay, queen e2, trying to exploit the pin, and the discover attack doesn't work. There's castles, and I might get problems. I might get problems if he goes with rook e1. So yeah, d5 might be quite okay. d5, d5 castle, bishop e2. Yeah, doesn't look that bad. d5, castle, bishop e7, takes, knight e1, doesn't look great. And then maybe follow up by bishop f5. Yeah, should be also quite okay for black. Okay, if d5, knight c3, taking both the pawn and the knight. If I take, he can take with the d-pawn, and the bishop is pretty good placed there, so I think I go with knight f6. Yeah, he has a slight lead in development, but otherwise he would definitely need time to correct the position of this bishop. So I'm not sure if black has any opening problems. I don't think so, but okay, yeah, the game would tell. I just play knight c6, already somehow threatening to play bishop g4, so getting slight initiative. Yeah, it's always a bit. You cannot play knight bd7 and knight bd2 to protect this knight there. Okay, it goes for h3, so once again, losing time. Yeah, I think I won't commit myself, so just play castle. And yeah, okay, I don't have a great bishop here, but his bishop is not a pride either. I think I can even go for d5, and the bishop has to retreat to probably e2, b5. Okay, just gain time. a6, b5, bishop e7. Yeah, I think with d5 next, I might even get a slightly better game. It's nothing special, but it's at least slightly better. Okay, let's go for d5. And of course, I free to square e5 for the knight here, but yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, I can just play knight b7, for instance, and if he takes, I just get time for new development. If he doesn't take, I just take him myself, improve my bishop to d6, maybe even the queen, connecting the rooks. Yeah, black should be quite fine. You could try it maybe c3, bishop c2, d4, to play more slow fashion. But I'm not sure if I play knight c6 and then d4, if I cannot fix this one, the d4 pawn, as a permanent weakness later on, and try to exploit it in the middle game. Might be quite interesting, but okay. It's all theoretical. Let's see. Of course, I don't know, it's c3. I could maybe even trade bishop c5. I think it could go b4, bishop e6, and if it goes crazy, maybe even a4, and so on. Because, okay, if I go in knight c6, as after c3, knight c6, bishop c2, d4, you can take, and I cannot take with the knight because takes, queen takes, and rook takes, and bishop. Queen's overloaded. She cannot protect the bishop and the knight. So he goes for the fianchetto. Okay. Putting the bishop in a very powerful diagonal. We can go for c4, gaining more space, and then simply putting my pawns, my pieces behind my pawns. Looks like a decent choice. Yeah, let's go for it. c5. I don't see any threatening there. And then knight c6, and it's quite easy development. This bishop is still not I don't know, not very meaningful there. If he moves, I can even play bishop f5, getting the better bishop. Yeah. Black shouldn't have any problems. Knight c6. Then followed up, maybe even bishop b6 and bishop b7, but yeah, that's it's not clear yet. Okay. Well, black has more space. I would say maybe. Yeah. Okay, his bishops are quite active, but okay. Okay, it's a slight lead in development. Otherwise, I would say black is not worse. Knight a6. Okay, trying to push c4 probably, but okay. Yeah, I can try this. But c4, I don't know. I just played d4 and just bishop is bad. He plays knight b5, I just play a6 and gain time for b5. To be honest, I fancy the idea of h6. Just after this bishop has to move probably somehow. Especially if I play knight b4, then I can put my bishop on f5 without it being harassed by knight h4. I mean, and h6 also enables me to play bishop e6 without knight g5 ideas. So I think it's okay if I spend this move on prophylaxis. To be honest, there isn't much you can do. I mean, queen e2 doesn't work. I just play bishop e6. Knight b5, just a6 comes, hits the knight. Okay, c4 would be probably very, very bad. Okay, knight e5, okay. Well, I could take, bishop takes. Why should I exchange it off? Let's go for knight b4 maybe. Okay, taking the bishop, at least trying to get a bishop pair, even if it's not one of its maybe not ideal place pieces. He can, yeah, he can only go probably to e2 or f1. after which the knight would be very well placed there. Okay, d4 is not an option because c4 is then pretty weak, I think. Maybe I could even allow the exchange on this square, at least to get a semi-open file and play a5, a4, and maybe getting some play. At least trying to get in somehow of an imbalance, a more important imbalance. Can go for f4. After all, this bishop isn't very well placed there. So I think I will go just with bishop e6. Why not? Oh, okay, I just spotted an interesting idea of playing knight g6. If you can take my bishop. Well, slightly improving the structure. Okay, f2 might be a bit weak later on, but yeah, still it might be an interesting way to gameplay. Okay, time is about equal, both about 9 minutes left. Okay, if he takes, I will just retake with the b pawn, taking b5 under control and planning a5 and so on. He's going for f4. Okay. Here we go. Going for f5 here. Okay, let's go for knight b4. Then planning bishop f5 if he moves, and retreat the bishop. Okay, cannot play f5, I just take, threaten the rook and the bishop and then the queen, so getting the initiative. And if he takes with the knight, I just take the pawn, winning a pawn. So he retreats, quite logically. Okay, let's go bishop f5. If he plays c3, it's not a big deal. I just retreat. If he takes, it's okay, I think. Okay, after f4, there's some queen b6 ideas might appear. Also, this spot is not very strong. I mean, I can always play somehow queen a5 and then. Okay. Yeah, well, improving the bishop. I would say that he's threatening to play g4, g5, and then. No, okay, it's not yet hanging. I must admit that I lack a bit of a plan. I mean, okay, his problem is probably this knight there. What about bishop d6? I mean, you cannot move the knight yet because this pawn would be hanging. But after g4, bishop h7, g5, yeah, probably takes. Knight e4, going for the pawn. Yeah, I quite like this idea. So. Okay, what about c4? If it goes forward, you can take the pawn there. So rook a to b8 might also be an interesting idea. I mean, he doesn't threaten yet anything. Yeah, okay. I mean, the rook is. Yeah, I think it's okay. It should be okay at least. And then going for bishop d6, improve my piece. Going for rook e8. Yeah, something like this. Maybe even bishop h7, just prophylactic, play. Okay. Bishop d6, g4, bishop h7, g5, takes. I cannot play knight e4 anymore. If your knight goes somewhere, this pawn would be hanging after c3. Well, that might be serious. Even if I give him the square c4, I think shutting in this bishop should be good. I mean, if he goes for c3 to free the bishop, he gets an isolated pawn. I get the square d5, and respectively e3 and take even f4. So also very strong ideas. I don't know. I don't think that was a good decision. And c4 is always might be met by b5. Knight f5 isn't possible then. Yeah. Okay, I have more space. Maybe slightly better pieces. Here we go. Okay. Well, I attacked this square 3 times, but I cannot take it yet, or can I? Let me see if I take bishop, knight takes. Okay, knight takes, bishop takes. Rook takes, gets material, but if I take with the queen first, attacking the bishop also, you can take there. Okay, let's calculate. Knight takes d3, knight takes, let's say queen takes, rook takes, queen takes c3, and you can take my pawn there. I can check him. Let's say I take first, bishop takes queen e3, and take the f pawn. I would then have this c5 pawn isolated, this a7 pawn, and majority on the king side. But I know the c5 pawn, if this would be such a pride. I could of course also try to play on the dark and the light squares here first. Maybe something like this. Take with the bishop, he takes with the rook, takes, queen takes. I mean, I get an initiative, but take, he takes my queen, bishop takes there. No. Otherwise, after knight d5, if he retreats, bishop e2, because f4 is also hanging, I can attack this square. Bishop f6 is definitely an improvement for this bishop. Okay, the bishop is attacked. If he exchanges it off, I can maybe even take on b4 with the pawn, attacking the knight, getting initiative, and then play knight c3. It's also quite interesting. And then later maybe even bishop f6, turn to exchange it off, and then grab this pawn finally. Okay, takes. It's very tempting to play this one, but otherwise this pawn on c5 fixes the pawn on d3 quite well. Not an easy decision. Okay, go for this. Can he? Yeah, okay. I mean, this should be just better. I mean, f4 is hanging. So let's go for this one. He probably has to take here. I take there with the queen. But I can always check and then play this. Yeah. Probably I just won a pawn. So even if he gives up his powerful light squared bishop, black should win a pawn. He gets a passed pawn, okay, but it's also isolated in a way, so it might also be weak. I'm just getting low on time again. Talking too much. Okay, knight b5, knight takes f4. Okay, first takes it out, then plays this one. If he goes knight c2, I can probably first. Okay, goes there. Okay, let me see if I don't miss anything. I mean, okay, queen blub, queen d4 check, and then I don't have many squares somehow. I'm not sure. Let's try it. Bishop c5 check. Of course. Oh god, this was so stupid. Okay, this was of course very stupid. I just neutralized my own idea of knight d4 and queen d4 and f4, but I wasn't sure if if the pawn, if the bishop wouldn't be weak in the long run. Let's go for f6. The knight retreats. I capture this pawn. Let's try it that way. Yeah. Okay. This pawn on the 4 is still a bit weak, but my biggest weakness is the time. It's the clock right now. Okay, he cannot exploit this diagonal. Let's take this pawn finally. If he goes with the rook, I probably exchange it off, create a new weakness, and get a nice majority on the queen side. Okay, d4 is under control. You cannot penetrate on the 7th rank. You can of course, okay, I'll go there. This is still possible. Okay, this knight is completely paralyzed. Cannot go to the d5 because the pawn would be hanging. Okay. Steady g5. If he goes knight g, I just go queen f7 and king f7 and did this. He has to retreat again. First taking before c4 under control, and then planning bishop c5. I don't think his play is very convincing right now. I mean, I just play h5 and the knight has to go again. He cannot exploit this square because he would need to go here somehow. Okay, now I can exchange off the knight. Okay, this should be winning. If the rook moves, I just check and then collect the pawn. I can always protect my own pawns here with rook c6. Okay, now I have 3 connected passed pawns, which is quite a trump in a position. Okay, let's go for this and then simply push the pawn as the game's over. Okay, let's first force him back. Then go there, forcing something here. He cannot attack my pawns because I will always be quicker or faster. Okay, now everything's protected. I can slowly push my pawns. Okay, I can go for this, but I can play rook there, exchanging it off. Go for this, winning time. He doesn't have very convincing ways of protecting it. I mean, I just can push this pawn. Okay, he's playing for time. Okay, it's checkmate. Well, in the end he tried to flag me even, but well, sorry that I couldn't comment on the game in the end because I just had 2 seconds left and without increment. So okay. Well, okay, let's see. Yeah, I could of course just push it, but first of all I want to prevent any counterplay, but okay. Okay, here most easily would be probably just a2 and promote and don't go for any complications. And then maybe to play rook c5, rook e5 just to cut off this king. He cannot go any further, cannot try to hide anywhere from checks. Okay, I wouldn't like him to play this one. This would be pretty annoying. Okay, would then need two moves. Go there if he goes. Yeah, this was maybe the best way to flag me. But okay, let's go for from the beginning. So okay, this bishop d3. I mean, this bishop wasn't very good there, and let's see, retreat. Okay, if necessary, yeah, probably knight c6 and bishop g4 might come. Rook e1, d5, and I think black's taking over. Should be slightly better, or at least more pleasant. Yeah, I think it's okay. Bishop e6, 5, knight b4, bishop back, bishop f5. I mean, knight b4 right now, okay, but f4 is quite committing. Knight b4, bishop e2, bishop f5, bishop f3, okay, slowly improving his pieces, rook a to b, in order to play d4. After this, I finally play d4 without the b7 pawn being hanging. Okay, f4 is a weakness, e3 is a weakness, so probably has to go for this, I don't know. Could take knight f to d5, and black should be much better. He has a weakness on d3. Okay, takes this, actually just loses the pawn, probably even by force. And here, okay, yeah, okay, in any case it loses the pawn, but okay, my initial thought was queen e4, d4 check, and okay, let's say king h1, queen takes f4. But I wasn't quite sure. Okay, let's have the rook f1. Okay. There's only one square left, queen g5. Knight f3. Okay, but again at f3 and just blocks the rook. So okay, maybe it was even the best way. But okay, let's see. Bishop c5 is also quite convincing. I mean, I would have preferred king h1 because on queen h2 there are always some ideas, with connect with check or yeah. Okay, f6. Knight has to go. d7 is not possible. Retreats. I collect a pawn, create a weakness, and then maybe this wasn't even necessary. I mean, I have the bishop pair, much more active pieces, but I think okay, his rooks are maybe a bit dangerous, but after this, I don't think there's any counterplay. Maybe this wasn't necessary. Okay, takes, go there, try to use my majority. Okay, after this the game is over. The king just blocks it, cannot move this rook. I just put it in an open file, create his back rank weakness, putting the rook on the 7th heaven. I like this word, this phrase. Okay, yeah, but okay, it's just over. 3 connected pass pawns is enough. I wanted to prevent him from playing something like yeah, rook b8 and attacking this pawn here, but okay. Of course not a2 first. Okay, afterwards it's just over. Well, okay, I hope you enjoyed my new clip. Please subscribe to my channel, Daily Chess TV on YouTube. And yeah, check out my site, dailychess.org, where I publish book reviews or chess-related reviews, also Chessbase DVDs. And yeah, basically twice a week, but sometimes even more often. So thank you for watching and see you next time.